Sheelin Horpedal, an assistant editor at Adam Smith Works, and this is the Smith Questionnaire. Juliette Sellgren is a student at the University of Virginia and the host of the podcast, The Great Antidote. Welcome to the Smith Questionnaire, Juliette.
Thank you for having me. It's my first time being interviewed, so we'll see how this goes.
First up, would you rather be loved or lovely?
Definitely lovely. I mean, I think Smith kind of explains this pretty well, but you have to be lovely in order to be loved. Maybe long term is not the right way to explain that, but that's how I think about it. So I'd rather be lovely.
All right. Wealth of Nations or Theory of Moral Sentiments?
Hands down, Theory of Moral Sentiments. TMS.
What is the best antidote to the torpor induced by the division of labor?
Probably learning, but also it's not necessarily learning. It's having a passion and pursuing that passion. And for me, it's learning. So I guess that's why my response comes as it is. But doing that with other people and people that we care about. And that kind of melds the two parts of humans, the deeply social and the deeply individual parts.
I think Smith would really like that answer. It's a very Smithian answer as well. Use your leisure to do something that helps improve you and do it with friends. So Smith says that one of the times we experience sympathy is when we share an appreciation for the same piece of literature or work of art. What do you think that people should read or listen to or watch in order to sympathize with you?
That's a pretty hard question, actually. I don't know. So right now I'm reading Jane Eyre, so that's what I'm thinking about, but I don't know if that's necessary to sympathize with me. Maybe you should read some Adam Smith to sympathize with me. I don't know.
I'm never going to not tell people to read Adam Smith. So that's a great answer for the Smith Questionnaire. So I know you've learned a lot about Adam Smith over the last few years, but what do you think is the most interesting thing about him that you've learned?
I don't know if people would consider this interesting, like, oh, that's cool and quirky, but yesterday I interviewed Ryan Hanley, who's a professor at BC, about Adam Smith. Go listen, everybody. And he was telling me that he published TMS first, and then he wrote The Wealth of Nations, but then he added part 6, which is about virtue, to the Theory of Moral Sentiments. And I think that context points out just how interconnected the two are. And I don't know, to me that's super interesting because it kind of speaks to how odd it is that we've separated, and now we're kind of going back to reconnecting the two, but how we've separated economics from more human, like nature oriented sciences. Yeah.
That's a good one. And I don't know if this will air before or after the Hanley podcast, but we'll be sure to get a link to it either way. So next, what does your impartial spectator look like?
What is my impartial, like, is this like an aesthetic question? Like, what does she look like? Or is it like, what are the what is it?
Do you have like a mental image for your impartial spectator? And if so, what does it look like? You might not have one, and that's okay too.
So I'm gonna say she's kind of like Dagny Taggart meets, I don't know, like one of the characters from the musical Six. Like there's kind of this like edgy cultural side, and there's also this super principled, very driven side to her. Yeah.
Do you think Adam Smith would have believed in aliens?
I don't think he would be opposed to it, but I think that maybe this is just me and reading speculative fiction and lots of sci-fi, but it seems as though when we talk about sort of stuff like that and the people who believe and engage with those sorts of ideas, it's people who are involved in like math And Adam Smith did political economy, not economics, the way we think about it today with all your like econometrics, statistics, this, that. So I would think, yeah, but he probably didn't give it that much thought.
All right. If you could have a dinner with Adam Smith and you could invite some friends to that dinner with you, who would you invite to your Adam Smith dinner?
Um, I would invite, so I recently did this program with the Hertog Foundation called the Political Studies Program. And so I would invite all my professors, many of whom I've had on the podcast actually, just to see what they'd say. And a lot of my fellow, I guess they were fellows, so like my fellow peers. And I guess who else? I'd probably invite my family. I don't know. Yeah.
All right. Last question. Which of your Great Antidote podcasts do you think that Adam Smith would like the most? If he listened to your whole body of work and ranked them from favorite to least, what do you think he would like that you've done?
I think that he would really enjoy the podcast I did with Professor Henry Clark at Dartmouth about Montesquieu. I think that those ideas are super relevant and that he would just find it very interesting, if not entertaining. And I also think he would like the interview I did with Ed Glaeser at Harvard on cities and the beauty of cities.
All right. Well, if we ever get a chance to recommend to him, we will put those at the top of the list. Those are all my questions for today, but I want to thank you for being with us. And that is the end of the Smith Questionnaire.
Thank you for having me.